Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Creative Comics Podcast, where we are all about independent comics. I'm one of your hosts, Angel, with John Pepe.
How's it going, Angel?
Dude, it's going okay. I gotta see if I can give me 1 second. Live. Is it live? No, you son of a toothless mother. Can you see? You can't see me, right? Or you can't
I
see
can't
me?
see you, no.
You can't?
I cannot see you.
Oh, man, I'm invisible right now. All right, I didn't know how to do this. All right,
well I can't see your background. Oh, there you are. Oh, look, you have look at the background. Very cool.
Yeah. I got kicked out of the office today, so I'm actually on my iPad today. Woohoo me! I can't do all the fancy things that I want to do, so it's all good. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Indie Creative Comics Podcast, where we literally all about independent comics. Everything from reviews to news to interviews. That's for the new Dr. Seuss that's coming out. We cover everything indie. Small press. John and I have been here forever. We're dinosaurs in this fact. He's our resident historian. And we also have a small publishing house, Indie Creative Comics, where we publish our own comics and some other really cool stuff. So you have to go to indiecreativecomics.com. Check that out. We got a really cool episode today. We've got more reviews. I think we have like 5 books in total. We'll get to that though. We'll get to the reviews at the very end. There's some stuff that we need to take care of before that. So some comic news and other news. But the big news, dude, I don't know if you heard about it. This dude turned like 51 or something on Friday. Or is it 49? Or is it 47? Yeah, God.
I like the backwards. I like the backwards through time. Yeah. Thank you, man. Ironically enough, I do share a birthday with Phil Collins. I think that's pretty cool.
Do you really?
Yeah. Which is, again, the Phil thing. Comic artist Dennis Cowan. If you don't know Dennis Cowan, you should. He's a fantastic comic artist. Also shares a birthday with me. Comic book publisher and writer Rick Offenberger. And then, of course, I got Christian Bale.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Charles S. Dutton. Remember Rock? Alien Cube,
yes,
right? Yeah, that guy. We share a birthday. Unfortunately, Gene Hackman and Dick Cheney also share January 30th. They are no longer with us, but yeah, no, it's a nice class to be in, the January 30th class. So yes, I turned 51, and then. It's kind of neat because my brother, one of my older brothers, my oldest brother, his birthday is February 1st. And then my wonderful wife and inspiration, Sherry, her birthday is today, February 2nd.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So it's like it's a stacked weekend in the household for birthday.
Yeah, it must suck in the pocket.
Right after a month after Christmas, no less, too. So.
Which is crazy. It's like done. It should just be Christmas and that's it. We get all your gifts once a year because it's freaking Valentine's is coming up, and then all of a sudden you gotta do an Easter basket to them and celebrate the summer coming in. I'm like, forget about it. Yeah, no. All right, yeah. Well, John, happy birthday. Hopefully we'll have you for another 50 more years.
Oh, at least.
Like that. Yes. All right, guys. So let's hop right into it. I know you came here. We're gonna just hop into the news really quickly. We're going from celebrating life to, unfortunately, celebrating lives. That were really, really just crucial, if not influential, definitely in our era and stuff like that. So I guess we'll start with the artist, Sal Buscema. The only thing, honestly, that I remember of his, when I first, it was weird because I didn't I'd read Marvel comics for a bit, but I was more of the obscure stuff. So Rom was I was really big on Rom. And I think he did a small run on that. Which I love because I wasn't into the main stuff, mostly because I couldn't afford it. But whenever I can find the obscure stuff, because I was just there. I mean, he was 89 years old.
Oh yeah, wow.
89 years old, and I think sometime last week is when we lost him.
Yep, and it's interesting because you saw a lot of this more back then. The early Marvel bullpen days and a lot of, a lot of siblings going in together. Right. So famously, Sal Buscema's brother, older brother, I believe was John Buscema. And I'm not going to take anything away from Sal, but I think Sal lived in his brother's shadow because his John Buscema really had a lot of the big ticket books, you know, Conan, Healthy Avengers run, just, you know, Silver Surfer in the 60s, like, you know, just really just a powerhouse, versatile artist. Sal was more of a workman, journeyman type. Sal definitely had his own style, but whereas John's was like rounded and like liquid, Sal felt very sharp,
rigid, sharp,
yeah,
perfect for rock,
which was great. And again, it's like you always look at like guys like John Romita Sr., you know, as the licensed, you know, when you think of Marvel licensing, we see like a Marvel toy or something when we were growing up, you know, it was always that Romita version. But when you kind of think of like when you open up a Marvel comic book and see inside, in my mind, it's always Sal, because Sal worked on so many titles over the years,
right,
and just would go from title to title as well in a lot of cases. I distinctly remember him. He was penciler on Spectacular Spider-Man, pre and post Todd McFarlane, and you actually, and they did this, happened to I think him and Alex Saviuk on Web of Spider-Man, that the McFarlane, they were doing the classic, you know, Romita Sr., specifically, you know, not the big bug eye Spidey and more superhero poses, not the more contortion stuff, the standard Web, the Mary Jane had the bangs, right, and the long hair, and then McFarlane comes along, changes all of that in amazing, and it took off so well you could literally see the instruction almost mid-issue for Sal and Alex Saviuk to draw these. You just keep your style, but do these things more like McFarlane.
Right.
Sal started doing the big eyes. Mary Jane had curly hair. The Web started, you know, Sal started doing it, and you know what? Sal was great at it because that was the artist Sal. Sal was like such a good company man artist, and always reliable, always delivered. Could definitely lay out a page like nobody's business. One of the best in the business, and yeah, he will be missed.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully he's still drawing up there. All right, that moves us to our next one, and it usually comes in 3. So I'm going to give this one, I didn't tell you about it, and it's not everybody will know him. But on, I believe it's the weekends, he was primarily on Channel 4 News here on the East Coast. And it was Produce Pete. Do you remember?
Yeah, Produce Pete
just passed away.
Yeah.
So the only reason why I give recognition is because every time on the weekend, if I'm watching the news and just put on the background, his segment will come up. And he was there for like over 30 years or whatever it is. Just really entertaining, nice guy, talking about produce, how to take care of it and stuff like that. So just give him a brief shout out. Yeah, he just passed away over the weekend as well. The big one, oh my gosh.
Right.
What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, talking about like New Jersey icons like Produce Pete or New York, you know, tri-state area icons. I mean, it happened last week. We obviously had the snow day last week. We did not do a show last week because we were digging ourselves out along with the rest of the region. But Uncle Floyd, New Jersey Network staple. If not for Uncle Floyd, there would probably be no original Pee Wee Herman show, the live stage show that was aired on HBO in like 81, the adult kids show, right?
Right.
And Uncle Floyd was full of that. You know, kids loved it for what it was on the surface, but the adults, the parents were able to watch it because it was a little blue, a little out there. And it was, afternoons for us growing up in the early 80s, and he at one point his stock was pretty big in the area that NBC actually gave him an opportunity to have do the Uncle Floyd show after Saturday Night Live.
Really?
And I think it only lasted 3 weekends. It like nobody latched onto it because it was such a New Jersey thing.
Right.
And I grew up, I loved Uncle Floyd as a kid, and I actually had 2 opportunities to see him. The second time was we were a little bit, it was, say we're a little bit older, so at the tail end of my liking the Uncle Floyd stuff, so probably like 86 or 87.
Right.
And we went to see, there used to be at the Bergen Mall, which is now called the Bergen Town Center, there used to be a theater. And we saw Uncle Floyd show live at the Bergen Mall.
Cool.
Yeah. Prior to that, in like the heyday of my Uncle Floyd fandom, my dad would always surprise me with these little things, these trips or whatever, by always under the predicate of going to see his lawyer or a lawyer friend of his. As a kid, I didn't catch on right away, so I got really worried that it was like almost we were seeing a lot of lawyers, but then there would always be a big reveal surprise. Case in point, one birthday after his show on CBS FM, we go to this building in Manhattan. He's like, "Oh, I got to go see a lawyer friend of mine," and we're looking at the list of who's in the building. I see DC Comics. I was like, "Dad, wow, DC Comics here." He goes, "Yeah, it's really interesting that my lawyer has to have the same office as DC." Oh, that's not where we're going. And then we get in the elevator, doors open, DC Comics, and he arranged a trip, a tour with Joe Orlando, and it was such a great experience. Anyway, a couple of years before that, we go to go see this lawyer friend of his, and we were out in the middle of New Jersey. Like, I had no idea where we were, and it was almost feel like it was like this like sort of flat land with a hill, and on top of the hill was like this house, but it was like more like a building, like a one-level building. And I was like, this is a weird place for a lawyer. And we walk in. I'm like 6 years old, probably, right? We walk in, and down the corridor, I see Uncle Floyd. And he's rehearsing a bit with this wooden monkey that has these hook hands, and he like can't get himself detached from it. And I look at my dad, I tug on my dad. I said, "Dad, it's Uncle Floyd." He goes, "Oh yeah. That's who we're here to see. We're not here to see my lawyer. We're here to see Uncle Floyd. We're going to watch a taping." And my dad was actually on a bit on that episode.
That's cool.
And I don't know if he reached out to them or they reached out to him. I have never seen that footage since it aired 40 some odd years ago. Right. I'd love to try and catch that somewhere. Right now, it's not on the Uncle Floyd YouTube channel, but there's so much great stuff on the Uncle Floyd YouTube channel. And just check it out. It's so cool. New Jersey icon, 76 years old, I believe. Unfortunately passed away as well, and worked and made appearances pretty much right up until the end. You could find him weekly at these Italian restaurants, just playing piano and singing songs, and telling jokes. Yeah,
that's good when you love what you do, right? You do it to the very end.
Yeah,
and why not? All right. Well, and then unfortunately, dude, she was just tremendous. Catherine O'Hara. I mean, she was 71. Most people would know her from just being Kevin's mom. But after watching the John Candy documentary, which is fantastic, by the way. So if you've not seen it, definitely check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when I realized that it was a collective group. It was Catherine O'Hara, John Candy, Eugene Levy, who was what's his name? Spaceballs guy.
Yeah, Rick Moranis, Martin Short, Joe Flaherty. Oh yeah,
just all these great comedians, and having that show up there that was supposed to kind of rival, like, because that was a Canadian SNL kind of thing, and then having them all be able to come, across the border and all be successful in their own way. Yeah, I mean, she was working till just recently. I mean, I just finished watching the last episodes of The Last of Us.
Right, she was
based off of the video game. She was in that. She was I watched a little bit of Schitt's Creek, which she was hilarious on.
She returned for Beetlejuice 2.
The original Beetlejuice. Dude, she did so many great. She's a great comedian, great actress, and she'll definitely be missed and stuff like that. So I mean, now I just got 2 of the main 5, I guess, from that group that I just can't even bear. Like, I didn't even want to think about who's next, because I mean, that was. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, that's a really solid group of talent, from John Candy to Catherine to freaking Eugene Levy, who I think is hilarious. Because I think just having a conversation with him, I don't think I would be able to not laugh, because he has one of the driest sense of humors on the planet, and I just love that.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting about SCTV, and specifically, I think with Catherine O'Hara as well, they were the second tier, because a lot of the SNL folks came from SCTV. Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase. So most famously, like, Catherine O'Hara was Gilda Radner's understudy with SCTV, and then Gilda gets the call to go to SNL, or decides to go to SNL, and that kind of ups Catherine O'Hara. And again, like, that show, I don't know where that stands as far as like physical release. I know
Mhm.
there's no full episodes, I think, on the YouTube channel, but like there's sketches. The thing that I loved about SCTV that was different from SNL, they were both sketch comedy shows, but
Right.
SCTV was a sketch comedy show within the world of this television station
Mm.
called SCTV. So you basically had framing sequences or through lines about the goings on and the mechanics of SCTV, and Don Caballero, the program owner of the and the program director, and all that stuff. And then that was your in to get these sort of like movie parodies and things, like that,
Right.
So like I always loved that format. I always thought that was very cool growing up, because again, I was allowed to watch this stuff way too young, but growing up watching that in comparison with Saturday Night Live to see like what made the shows different, because in that time it's like, oh well, these like Bill Murray's in Stripes with John Candy and John
Dude, the amount of talent that came from there, though.
Oh yeah,
It was insane.
And that was great because the movies gave these talent the opportunity to work together,
right,
outside of their respective shows.
Right,
so it's really cool.
Right. Yeah, and we always had it, and you have that in this generation as well, where you have sort of like the comedic talent that kind of travels together. And different movies and stuff like that. Adam Sandler's one that brings in these guys all the time. Seth Green does the same thing. They have their own plot of friends that are really tight that they carry into their movies and stuff like that. But yeah, man, when I saw that and I just popped up in my feed, I was like, no. And then I just started having a long conversation with my wife, and I was like, all right, we're losing all these great people that we grew up with. And, I was a big like action movie buff guy in like the 80s. And I was just like, no, who's going to be the first one to go? So right away, we both said Chuck Norris is not. He's going to be around forever, kind of thing. But then we started going on a list because you got, Stallone and Schwarzenegger. You even put, who's Die Hard? Bruce Willis. Up in there. So, yeah, it's going to be, when that happens, it's going to be definitely a punch to the gut.
Carl Weathers, that sort of was the first one in that realm, right?
But he never was like the main star. He was always prominent. Like Rocky was definitely. I mean, he had Action Jackson. But
I was gonna say they gave him a shot, but that little before its time, unfortunately.
Yes.
That movie.
Yeah. That had Vanity in it as well.
Yes.
So really solid cast. I was like all for it, but I think that it probably wasn't definitely ahead of its time. Could
you imagine if that took off? We would have like Action Jackson 4. He teams up with Prince, right? Like,
but you know what though? If it happened, then I don't think we get Rocky with him.
Well, no, because
he would have been too big.
But Action Jackson was well after Rocky. Action Jackson was after they killed off Apollo Creed. Action Jackson, I think, was that mid to late 80s.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that timeline.
Yeah, no, Action Jackson was definitely in a post.
So he got Action Jackson.
There's no Action Jackson without Apollo Creed.
Okay.
Come on, they're not giving Carl Weathers his own franchise or attempting his own franchise without first proving himself. So I think
I'm going to take your word for it.
I think it was post Predator. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, you're going to make it. Stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, we lost him a while back, but he definitely has some great roles as well. But yeah, I hope we don't lose anybody else for a while because this is starting to get depressing. All right, so let's move on.
Welcome to old.
Yes, welcome to old. Last bit of news before we move on to the reviews for this week. A couple of weeks back, we had Steve McArdle on talking about his book Vendetta. And listen, we've had people on the show say, hey, we're going to send you some stuff, and stuff has never arrived. But he said he was going to send some stuff, and boy, he did.
He delivered,
Yeah, he delivered the first trade of Vendetta.
I love that foil.
Dude, it's awesome. And inside, whoo, you know what's crazy about this book, right? Not only that it's black and white, but you read comics, which are being pumped out almost like really quickly now, and there's hardly any backgrounds at all. This son of a bitch, Steve McArdle, just detail on top of detail for freaking backgrounds. I started reading this before I went to bed, and I shouldn't have done that because I couldn't put it down. It's really entertaining. So, Steve, listen, number one, thank you Really solid. This is sort of like that 2000 AD Judge Dredd / Black and White Ninja Turtles. Freaking, dude, just so good. And the storytelling and pacing is probably one of the fastest that I've ever read. But it makes so much fucking sense for this book. So yeah, Steve, I'll probably end up reading this probably by either today or tomorrow and finishing it. Dude, that demon that comes out too is fucking crazy. Yeah, but guys, if you want to get a copy of this, I know that he's working on Vendetta issue number 7, I believe.
Yep.
I believe you can still get a copy of the trade and stuff like that, either at Floating World Comics. I think he has a Red Bullet imprint and stuff like that. But yeah, if you like underground, indie stuff, this is a solid read. So Steve, thank you for this. I'll definitely get John his copy.
Yeah, and it's again, it's something that he continues to this day, but started, in the extreme 90s era. So it's got that action movie vibe to it. It is just, it is high octane, a little ultra violent, just like heavy metal comics, basically. It's really cool. Yeah. And catch the interview that we did with Steve. Great guy, great interview. And while you're at it, watch all of our Spotlight interviews, because there's some really, really good stuff in there that these guys are doing.
Yeah, definitely check this out, guys, because, the fucking amount of work that he put into this book is just crazy, just the line and detail and stuff like that. So, check it out. Vendetta from Steve McArdle. Definitely check out the interview as well. All right. Cool.
And really quick, because, again, if folks, before we get to the reviews, sorry, Angel. I got something else I want to spotlight, a little show and tell. Folks, if you've not seen the show before and you're watching it today, two things we're known for are tangents and technical difficulties. So we're hitting a lot of that today. But speaking of delivering, things that deliver, I have gotten my physical copy of Project Shadowbreed Reboot number 1.
That is a sexy looking book.
The beginning again. Angel, this looks beautiful physically.
Like it?
This just I love the paper.
Yeah,
I love the weight.
The printers did a great
art
job.
is just, it just pops on the page. I'm really pleased with how this came out. You guys did a bang up job. I love the credits page. Cool. I love that kind of stuff. Love the logo on the back. I love the back matter as well. You get some cool journal pages. I love the front page or the cover of Merrick's composition book.
Yes.
Keep your effing hands off. With the stickers and stuff. He's just, he's a kid. I love it. These sketchbook, these design concepts in the back. Folks, if you did not get this, I don't know who you got to shake down for it. But get your hands on this, because it is a great book, man. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're really proud of it, and on that, we had a really great successful Kickstarter that got finished. There's going to be books available down the road on our site, probably sometime in March-ish. But issue number 2, the pre-launch page is already up. So if you just go to projectshadowbreed.com. It'll take you right to the Kickstarter page. We're probably going to launch either somewhere mid to late February for that book. You'll be able to get an opportunity to get issue 1 on that as well. So really, Alex did a freaking phenomenal job on the art and stuff like that, and Justin going back and forth with him, and like watching him like really unravel his brain around this story, because he knows it inside and out. And it's funny because sometimes we'll throw ideas back and forth, and I'll read something on a page, and I'm like, well, the reader's not supposed to know that yet. And they'll be like, oh, you're right, boom, and then we'll come back and then rewrite it. And then it's funny when you're like so into your own work and it makes sense in your brain. And then sometimes you have to remove yourself from that because the reader's not you. And I think that's one of the things, like if you don't have a solid editor, oftentimes you'll get that. And I think that's where, or if not even an editor, just somebody who's not you looking at your work to ask the questions that you may not come up with as well. And what's really great about Justin is that he's open and he's receptive to that, which is great. Because you run into creators that are like, no, this makes sense. Don't worry about it. People are going to like, and they won't budge or change kind of thing. But he's not like that at all. He's really open and receptive to feedback. And if he doesn't like it, he won't use it. But if he likes it, he's going to use it and stuff like that. And I think this is a culmination of just, being really collaborative and trusting not only the art process, but, the whole process of bringing a book together. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fudging work, but when you get an end result like that, and then these guys over at Comics Wellspring, because I'm not getting paid by them or anything like that, but Comics Wellspring, these guys, the turnaround time was great. The packing was fucking unbelievable. So it was not only bubble wrapped and everything like that, but each book had a cover page on it to protect the freaking cover, which is crazy. So it showed me how to remove it so that it was safe. It was insane. So yeah, Comics Wellspring. If you're looking for anybody to print your books, decently priced as well, you guys should check them out.
Did you keep a couple with the covers on?
I didn't. I took them.
Oh, you got save one, get it graded.
No. I put it. Well, it's just the cover,
and then shoot it, and then just shoot it a couple times.
Yeah, but I did keep a set for myself for sure. And the trading cards came out freaking fantastic too, nice. Which is awesome. So yeah. ProjectShadowBreed.com. Check it out, guys, if you want to hop on board for what we got going on our journey. All right, so now we have your permission, John, to move into reviews.
Yes,
right, guys.
You may proceed
this week. This is why we're here every week to talk about books that we picked off the shelves. It was a pretty big, the last 2 weeks at the beginning of the year. Not too shabby. We're into February now, obviously. And these are the last books from the month of January. But I can't believe it's freaking February already. That's insane. And there's more stuff coming out next week, which is even more fantastic. But I think you have more books than I do. So I'm going to go first.
All right.
Just because I want to. All right. I've never heard of this imprint. I don't know if it's an imprint off of something else, something that was newly created, but Wise Acre Comics. And the book is called City of Demons. One of the reasons that I picked it up, because it's sort of like a detective noir kind of thing. It's not really my wheelhouse, but it was black and white. So I was like, oh, I got to give it a shot to see how, because I always like to see this true black and white, which is just literally black ink, and then the negative space is just white. And then you have shades of gray and stuff like that other people use in black and white comics. But for us, we like the true black and white. If we're going to get tone, it's probably going to be like a zipper tone or the extra lines that we put in to give tone. And then sometimes you have black and whites that have sort of like grades of shade and stuff like that in gray. And this book had that. So, all right. So let me just get it out of the way. Written and created by Parker Newman, illustrated by Kingsley Eza, and then letters by Nikki Powers. So like I said, I picked it up. It was one of these things where I was like, it's a black and white comic. I'm going to try it. It's number one. I've never heard of the imprint before. Actually, should have done my research and gone to their site to see what else they have out. But basically you have, I believe this is a 12-issue maxi where it'll finish off. And basically you're following this detective by the name of Detective Short. And you start off the book with basically a flashback that he's having of being in some war, and then not waking up, but getting a shot of him smoking a cigarette in sort of like this hotel room. And you can tell that he's getting divorced because the divorce decree papers are on the sheets. This takes place in Los Angeles in 1924. So take what you will from that particular era. The main character is black. So in 1924 Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure things were a little bit different. And it goes into a little bit that in the book, but it's not over preachy. So these guys he's a detective and he has a detective partner. And basically what you have is after you have the flashback, you have him going into the squad room. His partner's there with a whole bunch of other detectives, and then the captain comes in to give them their daily assignments. His buddy's like, I hope he gets something good because we've been getting crap, blah, 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 blah. And so the captain's giving out the assignments, calls out these two other detectives. They get a really solid, investigate this murder, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets to these guys. Hey, guys, you guys are on traffic duty for this opening of a movie, which is shitty, crappy detail. And if you ask me, that's a beat cop job. It's not a detective's job. So the fact that these are detectives getting a beat to just watch over a movie opening was kind of sketchy for me. But then they go into a little bit of like the racial thing where it's just, like I said, it wasn't over preachy, but fit for the time in that regards because of the shitty assignments that they're getting because of the color of their skin kind of thing. And then so they're at the place. You can see the old school 1924s. Where's it at? Where's the paddy wagon? Right there. The paddy wagon. It was nice. And then so they're sitting there. They're sitting on the blockade and stuff like that. Some car comes crashing through them, and then his partner's going off to chase, and the other guy's like, "No, we got to stay here. And he says, "No, this is our job. We're cops. We're detectives." So they chase the guy down. They go into like alleyways and stuff like that. And then at the very end, because it's no surprise, his partners they hit something. They get shot at. His partner gets shot in the neck, and then the car veers off to the side, and then he's just holding them there at the very end. What can I say? So I like the fact that it was black and white. I like the tone. It works really good for the tone of this book. It's sort of be like a detective noir book. So it definitely falls in within that category. The only thing I wish is that I wish we got more. Like, it's a really, really thin book. I think we got maybe 22 pages. And I'm okay with 22 pages, because that's normally what a comic is, about 20 pages. You have some comics now that are coming out regularly that are 32 pages. But typically 20 to 22 pages is what you do for a story. It just wasn't enough for me. Like, there wasn't enough in the story. Like, I don't know if I didn't read the synopsis, which I'm not going to read to you guys, I wouldn't know where this is going in this respects. But overall, the storytelling was fine. The pacing would have been fine if it was a 40-page book, because then I would have got a little bit more meat behind the story. The fact that it's going to be 12 issues, I'm pretty sure stuff's going to unravel over the 12 issues. Just for me, it's a $4.99 price point, and I'm pretty sure it's coming because it's premium cover. I mean, it's got a gloss to it. It's a thick stock, but the inside is just regular, I think 60-pound glossy paper. It's cool. I think this is something I'll probably wait till the trade comes out, and I'll pick up the whole trade to see how the whole thing works out. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. City of Demons, Wiseacre Comics. Check it out if you're like into that crime noir genre. All right, cool. Off you go.
All right. So I have two from Wednesday, January 21st, and then one from this past Wednesday, the 27th. So I'm going to start with one of the ones from the 21st. It is from the ever impressive Ignition Press. We've looked at a few books from them by now. This is a publishing endeavor started by former editor Jamie S. Rich, and he's got some great talent along with him. It is called Bloodland.
Nice.
Right. Nice little cover there. So Bloodland is written by B. Clay Moore, art, colors, logo by Mac Chater, lettered by Dave Sharp. It is edited by Maggie Howell, assistant editor Nora Ornstein, and book designed by Scott Newman. And of course, B. Clay Moore and Mac Chater both have co-creator credits. B. Clay Moore, one of my favorite writers. He has done some work independently and mainstream. Most notably would be The Whistling Skull with Tony Harris, one of my favorite artists. And belated happy birthday to Tony Harris, January 28th, by the way. And but B. Clay Moore and Tony actually had this weird, neat thing where they came up with this Whistling Skull concept. They were able to do it as a JSA Elseworld series in the early 2000s, and then were able to strip it back down and self-publish it about a year or two ago in their original preferred version. So really interesting story there if you ever want to look into that. Bloodland is a very contemporary, slow-moving horror show, we'll call it. I'm sort of thinking back to our interview with the gentleman from Scotland and his book Sourcey.
Yes,
David, right? And his idea was a story that picks up like sort of, that the end of civilization as we know it, or the norms as we know it, are not going to happen very fast. It's going to happen very slowly, one bit at a time, until we wake up one day and realize everything we knew is gone, right? That kind of a thing. This kind of happens after that moment, though you start to see the beginning of this moment, and it does actually happen very fast, within 3 months. But basically, the president of the United States, President Cross, has essentially sold out this country to vampires, kind of like Nazi vampires.
Nice.
And it is really intense. It throws you right in there, because you just get this one moment of the deal going down, and 3 months later the country is sort of in ruins, in the fact that you just basically have bands of normal people who have a lot of aggression towards others, who are backing the new vampire militias that are out there, and just almost going town to town and just wiping out anybody who resists. You have your resistance against those forces, a former football quarterback who is part of this. So he's going to sort of be like one of your two heroes. Your other hero is an ex-military woman who it wakes up in a hospital after having given birth, and it sort of appears that she is part of this program where they just breed people to have food for the vampire overlords. So real intense, real heady stuff. The way it plays out, because again, you're just thrust in the middle of this, and the information is sort of parceled out in pieces, and I don't even think we've gotten everything. But we've got a nice background here in this first issue. A lot of ways it reminds me of DMZ from about 20 years ago. 9/11, this is where we could be going. So in that respect, B. Claymore is kind of taking that page from Brian Wood that he used back then, and kind of looking at what's going on today and saying, this is where we could be going with vampires. Again, DMZ did not do the vampire thing, but the vampire as an allegory, I think, is very fitting to a lot of things that are happening or rumored to be happening in the world, right? And what does a vampire do? Not on the literal sense, like in the fictional sense of sucking blood, but vampires are soul suckers, right? In that respect. So I really dig that kind of hook in here. So it's neat, because vampire fiction there's so much, and there's some like Bloodstained Teeth from a couple years ago. Christian Ward, where it does sort of put that in contemporary stuff, but I've never seen it really in this respect play out akin to the movie Civil War that came out a couple years ago. It really has that sort of vibe, and it has that sort of tension and that sort of quiet horror. So is it entertaining? Yes. Is it thought-provoking and cautionary? Absolutely. So if you really, if you want something that's going to make you think, but is also going to take you out of what's happening, but also bring you back in, sort of in and out of what's happening, if you're not looking for a complete diversion from what's going on, but sort of a catharsis, give this a shot. It is proposed to be an ongoing. There's a lot of miles in this story, and I think it's going to be a pretty rocky ride, but I think it's going to be worth it.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So you did find some parallels in the book to what's
more than a few, man. More than a few, but yeah, like I said, as far as the pacing and how this story is being told, like I said, very much like that movie Civil War. If you that movie just puts you right in, and you kind of get the information as you go. Very much same deal like that. Which I responded to that in that movie, so I responded well in that comic to that.
Nice, yeah, that was a great movie. All right, you got one more from last week.
Yeah, let's do it. So this is like completely almost in the other direction. This is from Dark Horse. This is called Touched by a Demon.
I saw that, yeah.
And this is really kind of interesting, because this is sort of a play on an old show called Touched by an Angel. Which again, Touched by an Angel, you get what that is. Touched by a Demon is about these two demons, Bifrons and Pazuzu, who, after several millennia of torturing souls, decide they want to be life coaches. So, so because they're just for some reason they're not taken seriously in the rest of the demon underworld. Bifrons, who kind of helped fight with Lucifer, like kind of became a fallen angel because of his friendship with Lucifer. Lucifer won't even say hi to him at the anti-Christmas party that happens on June 24th, right?
Oh
Like,
my
so that's
God.
sort of your background. You get a lot of fun little background of like what the demon world is like, and then how these demons act in the real world. And so, yeah, they decide they want to be life coaches, and they have this. Their first client is this young teenage girl who her older sister was born really weak and with all these deficiencies, so she was basically born so they could like harvest her bone marrow, use her blood to keep this other sister alive, right? And so she goes to these two demons for advice, and so they go to her house disguised as her tennis instructors, which is really kind of a funny, amusing bit, and kind of see the situation. And Bifrons, the lead demon, the one who fought with Lucifer, he's like, "This is ridiculous. They should be dead, like, and then you could inherit the house, and because they don't care about you, they only care about her, and she's barely alive anyway. But we'll get back to you tomorrow with our solution, right?" So they didn't even give her the advice. He just sort of gave an opinion. And then she comes to them and she goes, "Yeah, I took your advice and I took care of everybody." And and she's covered in blood, right? And that's sort of like sort of your instigating storyline here. So I don't know if this is planned to be a mini series or if it's going to be a little longer than that. If maybe each issue they're going to get more and more clients, and as they try to help, because again their whole thing is like they want to start saving souls to rebel against the demon underworld they were sent there to torture souls on Earth. They're sent here to torture souls. They want to rebel about it. It's very similar to Lucky Devils,
right?
Devils from hell who are like, what's the best way to create Armageddon in hell? By saving people, right? So this is more for selfish, more like this guy just. Bifrons is not being respected by all of his other demon friends. And so now he wants to try something different, just as like a middle finger. And it goes horribly wrong. Instead of saving souls, at least in this first one, he winds up ruining this person. And what I really loved about it is the cutesiness of the art. So like sort of here you go. Here you got you got Bifrons up there waving at Lucifer, and Lucifer's like, "Oh yeah, hey," and then just kind of turns his head away from him, talking to somebody else. But this sort of like real kind of loosey-goosey, cartoony art reminds me a lot of like the Adult Swim kind of content. Bifrons has his human form, but then he also has like his weird demon form up top there. That's how he looks to the rest of the demons.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's just really neat, little fun, cutesy stuff. Really reminds me a lot of like some of the more weirder, subversive indie comics. Not as detailed and as grotesque as say Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, but like more fun sort of sensibility. Where even though these are demons and they're sort of they're monsters, they're evil, they take souls and devour them, but yet they're also very human in how they want to be liked by their peers and want to try and help someone, and it just all goes horribly awry. So really fun stuff, really lighthearted, even though again it's got that weird.
And this is Dark Horse.
And that's a Dark Horse one, yeah. Oh, and I completely forgot the credits. So this book is by Kristen Goodsnick.
Okay.
That's it. One person, written and illustrated. Wow. Kristen Goodsnick. Yep. So it's a good job. There's edited by Brett Israel. Tara McCarran is assistant editor. But yeah, I love the one man band, and Kristen did a good job.
Good. Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. All right, we're gonna move on to the last one really quickly. This is from this past week. This is something that you and I both read. Dude, I picked up this book. I looked through it and I said, "There's no way in hell I'm gonna like this book," just because it was like it's so abstract in its art that it was just like for me, not every line has to be closed, not everything has to be really super tight, But when it's so abstract that it just like my brain was on overload. I was like, there's no way I'm going to get to this book. However, I will tell you this: Spirit of the Shadows is fucking unbelievable. I don't know why. Just so good. Holy shit. All right. It's been a while since I've read anything from Oni Press. So, color me fucking, yeah, freaking, yeah, just amazed. But all right.
I see what you did there with the word color.
Yes,
We'll get to
yes. Spirit of Shadows. The story is by Daniel Ziegler and Nick Cagnetti. Art and colors is also by Nick Cagnetti, and then letters by Ferran Delgado. Dude, let me just do this real quick because there's no way, guys. This opening sequence of just look at how much is there. It's just everywhere. It almost reminded me of like how Absolute Martian Manhunters before Martian Manhunters been drawn before in that respects, where it's just like everything is just all over the place, and just some of it is just like figments of what you make it out to be. But basically, you're following this character of Eric LaRoe, who does not know that he is dead. You got the sequence in the beginning where he's sort of like having this thing with his, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or fiance, Katrina. And then all of a sudden, this demon comes out and says, you guys can't kiss, and drags him into this whole sequence of, yeah, dude, you're dead. You're dead. And he's wearing the last thing that he was actually buried in. You're going through this whole sequence of he's been given this book so that he has to give the book so that he can get judged and be able to go to, let's just say, heaven, where he can be with Katrina. But he cannot lose that book. So guess what happens? He loses the book. But you're going back and forth from what's happening to him now, trying to remember. And the book, every time it opens up to a memory that he can remember. And so the first thing that he remembers in the book is when he met Katrina, which was at this like fancy pantsy thing. I guess she comes from money. And then I believe something has happened to her in that life. And so we're going back and forth from seeing these missing women posters, and I believe there's a Dr. Hyde who's being sued from or wanted for malpractice, and was helping Eric LaCour in real life. And the twist at the end was just like, I'm thinking that this guy is dead. He wants to find his love, can't lose his book, loses the book, because the demon comes and rips it apart and then says, ha, 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 runs away. And while he's trying to find the pages, finds another woman who's being tortured by a demon off of a cliff, and then he helps her. Her name is Elizabeth. I know I'm all over the place, but everything fucking ties in really well at the very end. So meets Elizabeth. Elizabeth has lost her book so long ago that she's damned or whatever it is. And so basically, if you're in this place, what they didn't say if it's hell or whatever it is, if you're there long enough, you start to turn into these demons. So she shows him her hand, which is basically turning into a demon. But she says, listen, it's too late for me. Let me at least help you. So she's going to help him try to find the pages of his book. So as she does that, it cuts back to Dr. Hyde's house. And where this woman comes in, this old lady, is asking him questions. She says she doesn't know how she got there, if he has anything to eat, drink, whatever it is, blah blah blah. Come to find out, she's a witch, and she wants to find Eric LaRoe because he's responsible for her sister's death. Her sister's name, Elizabeth. So I'm like, fuck me, they're together right now. So yeah, but that's not even the big fucking reveal. I don't know if I even want to say that. Should we say that? No, let's not go there. This book, you have to read it, because the reveal at the end, so it switches back to Eric and Elizabeth back in hell. They find some more pages. He takes a look at the pages and it reveals something really shocking. So all I want to say is freaking Daniel Ziegler and Nick Cagnetti, fucking thank you. Because for something that I normally wouldn't pick up, because listen, I've always been an art guy, and if it doesn't appeal to me right away, I usually go, I got enough to read, blah blah blah. So thankfully, I took a shot on this book because, dude, the storytelling in this book is great. the going back and forth, the cutoff sequences when you're just getting into the story, and then all of a sudden having to shift your focus to the other side of the story, which pissed me off. But the payoff at the very end is so good. It's so, like, there's so many different places this book can now go to. And my head is just like, it's unraveling. And I want to know if I'm right with where it's going to go or what the hell they're going to do. But yeah, listen, if you guys like sort of like the spirit world, hell, heaven kind of stuff, this is, but I don't know. I'm speechless. And it's rare. It's rare that I'm speechless because this book shouldn't have been as good as it was. And yeah, Spirits of the Shadows, Oni Press. What do you got to say?
Okay, so I read a lot from Oni. I one of my favorite companies for almost 30 years now because they started in '97. And I've been seeing this ad. This cover or something similar to this cover has been running on the back of books for a few months now. So I was sort of primed for this because it's a guy who looks like Gentleman Ghost from the Hawkman DC comics, but he's got a glowing violin. I'm like, I'm in. So the first thing, I was already predisposed to really wanted to check this out. My first thought when I flipped through this thing was, there's no colors left in the world. This guy used all the colors because holy cow, like just if you think that, I think Angel showed a couple pages there, but there's just like, it doesn't.
There's no black. There's no black. The black is just the outline.
Yeah, it's just there is so much
beautiful.
Color on this. It is
really
gorgeous,
cool.
And it is just so kinetic and just so much fun. It reminds me a lot, again, where he discovers how he can use these powers, with the light violin.
Yes, they're almost like Green Lantern constructs.
So it's very much like if Jack Kirby drew Doctor Strange on LSD with Steve Ditko's sensibility. And Kirby went to places later on with FF and especially New Gods and did a lot of these sort of these tableaus, but like nothing I feel on the level of Ditko right out the gate in Doctor Strange. And so this has a lot of that. It has a lot of sort of like the Spectre elements from DC as far as the dead guy given this opportunity. But then that twist, is just really does kind of knock you for a loop and really makes you want to see what's going to happen next in this. And then there's just some of the weird imagery that really reminds me a lot of like Mike Allred's Batman, like Elizabeth, the beautiful woman, with the demon hand. Like it's such a weird juxtaposition that it really feels in that wheelhouse. So those are all things that I love, and to see all of these in this one comic, I was so psyched and so happy to just spend time in this world, to go on the beginning of this journey with this guy, and really to see what happens next, because this is something cool. It's very cool. And again, very much a throwback, but with modern touches.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and we say it all the time. We've been reading comics for a long time, and there's something that comes along, and every now and then that just takes a trope and throws it on its head. And this is one of those. I mean, it's taken a hodgepodge of different things meshed together, and it's just done really well. It's a masterclass and really just great storytelling. And listen, to take something that's literally every color in the freaking rainbow and more, and
I think he created some colors.
Yeah, but it's just so that you could just see influences of like what do you call it, like the Mexican freaking demigods and stuff like that. Just really cool stuff in here. So and then just that twist at the end, like I said, guys, listen, you will not be disappointed. Oni Press, you knocked it out the park with Spirit of the Shadows. Definitely a fan. Definitely going to keep up with it. So we'll see what these guys do with this particular book.
Yeah, it's like a black light, and you don't need the black light. Somehow they put the black light in the page.
Great. All right, kiddos. That's all that we have for you. Hopefully you enjoyed. You got yourself some books. You got Spirit of the Shadows, which is sort of our top pick for this week. Oni Press. You got City of Demons by Wise Acre Comics. Bloodland was by Ignition Press. And then Touched by a Demon from Dark Horse. Check them out. We definitely have books coming out this week that we're going to be picking up. And we'll see you again next week. Listen, if you guys like what you hear, subscribe to the podcast. Better yet, invite 100 of your closest friends to subscribe to the podcast. We're going to be here every single Monday giving our reviews. We do have a couple of guests coming up sometime this month, so watch out for those as well. Definitely check out that interview with Steve McCarter, which was fantastic, talking about his book, Vendetta, his process, how long he's been doing it for since the 90s. Really, really great stuff. Want to be on the podcast? You're a creator, want to promote yourself and or your project that you got coming up? IndieCreatorComics.com. Visit, click the podcast form button, fill it out. John and I would love to have you on. If you're on social media, Indie Creator Comics, you can find us everywhere there. And last but not least, support your local comic shops, because without them, we would not be doing what we love, which is talking about this medium. John, where do you get your books from?
Well, I get my comics at The Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. And one thing I'll tell you about The Joker's Child, every day we're filled with joy. The joy of selling comics. And if you don't have a Joker's Child in your neighborhood, look one up on Google. Find yourself a local comic shop that looks at you the way Joker's Child looks at our customers, because we love our customers. We love comics. And like I said, find yourself a shop that's filled with the joy of comics, just like The Joker's Child in Fair Lawn, New Jersey.
All right, there you go, kiddies. If you're ever in Fair Lawn, come check it out. All right, until next time, thank you for joining us on the Indie Creative Comics podcast, where we are all about independent comics.